I found an article, uh, thanks to the video that I'm responding to. Uh, of all places, it's on Infowars.com. I'm not a real big fan of Alex Jones, but sometimes he'll get something, come up with something that's just something that everybody needs to see. And this article is titled "Shreveport Citizens Disarmed by Police for Second Amendment Bumper Stickers." Now, in this article, a gun owner named Bailio, Baillio, he has a concealed carry license, and apparently his car is littered with pro freedom, pro gun rights bumper stickers. And he got pulled over in Shreveport, Louisiana, for what the officer was saying, failing to use his turn signal. Now, um, according to the article, um, there was no request for driver's license, proof of insurance, or vehicle registration, and no discussion of a turn signal. Um, the only thing that the officer wanted to know was, did he have a gun? Now, the officer is well within his rights to ask that question, and he's well within his rights to remove you from your car if you admit to having a gun in your car. So that's what he should have done. But apparently, he removed Mr. Bailio from his car, searched his car, took his guns away from him, and then didn't even write him up for the failure to use his turn signal. Now, Mr. Bailio called the mayor of Shreveport, Louisiana. His name is Glover. And he recorded the conversation that he had with Mr. Glover. And it goes something like this. When he was asked about the presence of a gun, he said, "Well, I answered that question honestly, and he disarmed me." And the mayor said, "Which would be an appropriate and proper action, sir. The fact that you gave the correct answer simply means that you did what it is you were supposed to have done. That is to give that weapon to the police officer so he could appropriately place it in a place where it would not be a threat to you, to him, or to anyone in the general public." I don't know how is it supposed to become a threat to the general public. I can understand him removing you from your car where your gun was, but I cannot understand why he would need to remove your gun from your car when it's obviously no threat to him. Mr. Glover went on to say, "My direction to you is that had you chosen to not properly identify the fact that you had a weapon and directed that officer to where that weapon was located, had you been taken from the vehicle and the officer, in the interest of his safety, chose to secure you in a safe position and then looked, found, and determined that you did in fact have a weapon, then, sir, you would have faced additional blah, 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 and more severe criminal sanctions." Mr. Baleo said, "So what you are saying is I give up my rights to keep and bear arms if I am stopped by the police. Is that correct?" Mr. Glover said, "Sir, you have no right. When you have been pulled over by a police officer for a potential criminal offense, to stand there with your weapon at your side or in your hand, well, that's, according to the article, that's nowhere near where his gun was. His gun wasn't on his person. Even if it was on his person, he has a concealed carry license, which would mean that the officer would have requested that he hand over the weapon and kept that weapon until it was time for him to issue the ticket and let him go. And then he would have to return that weapon. Went on to say, "Because of your Second Amendment rights, sir, That does not mean that you, that does not mean at that point your Second Amendment rights has been taken away. It means that at that particular point in time it has been suspended. Okay? His Second Amendment right was suspended. Um, that doesn't sound to me like it was suspended. Suspension of your Second Amendment rights during a police officer while being pulled over by a police officer, I guess would be all right if he was to return your weapon at the end of the traffic stop, which, in the case of a person who is concealed carry, would be required. For that matter, in Louisiana, you're allowed to carry a loaded weapon inside your vehicle when traveling. So the officer had no reason to remove that weapon from that vehicle and confiscate it. And as long as we continue to allow these sorts of things to occur without standing up, without saying something, this man was profiled, and if this had been an officer pulling over a man based on the color of his skin, the ACLU would have been all over it. They would have been down there in Shreveport, Louisiana, knocking on the mayor's door, beating the mayor's door down. Where's the ACLU on this? I mean, come on. I got this from Infowars.com. Alex Jones. Like I said, I'm not a big Alex Jones fan. I think a lot of his theories are a little out in left field. But sometimes, on occasion, he gets something like this, and you got to listen to it. You got to look at it, because as long as we continue to put up with this bullshit will continue, and it get worse. So it's something to think about the next time that somebody tells you that they're stepping on our rights, and you say, eh, "You're just crazy. It's the same America as it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago." No, it's not. It's getting worse, becoming more and more tyrannical, more and more socialistic, more and more Marxist, more and more fascist. And if we don't stand up and stop it now, when will it stop?